everyone, absolute chaos today, so I am down in the kitchen, slightly echoey, but hopefully that won't be too much of a problem. At any rate, it's better than the alternative, which is just chaos. Kids screaming, dog going crazy. I'm just down here for some peace and quiet. It's also the warmest room in the house at the moment. Anyway, I'm here, I've got my crazy cardigan coat on, and a new video format. Just a bit of a test, I suppose, this one, because we've had monthly favourites, we've had monthly most used beauty products, and I suppose what I want to do is test out rolling that into one. So these are the beauty products that are, it's an edit of the beauty products that I've whittled down that are worth your consideration. It might be that they're an interesting new launch, it might be that I've tested them for ages and ages and ages, but it's the stuff that really works. It's the stuff that's worth spending money on. Okay, so I hope that makes sense and I hope this is useful to you. I've really tried to take favourites and most used and just condense it down into something that for you as a consumer is helpful. Should I buy it? Should I not? No gumph. Let's get cracking. First thing is something I've wanted to show you for ages, and it's the Eucerin Intensive Lip Balm. There are so many lip balms that are just rubbish, let's face it. It's one of my most massive bugbears in the beauty industry that everyone just sort of churns out a lip balm. Sometimes I feel just for the sake of it. And a lot of them, in the long term, make your lips actually drier than not using a lip balm. However, if I do have chapped lips at the moment, or actually when I was taking all my painkillers for my wisdom tooth problem, I found that my face and my lips got really dry. I don't know whether that's a phenomenon that's, I don't know, usual, but that's what happened. So I was using this quite a lot. And I just think it's not expensive, but it really, really does the job. Also, if you have a bit of a cold and you get that horrible dryness around your nose, it's really good for popping around there. It's not meant for that, but it does work, creates this little barrier. Now the next thing is an oldie but a goodie, and it's the Gimme Brow from Benefit. The reason that I am talking about it again today is that this month I tested out loads of different brow gels and quite niche brands, admittedly, not sort of brands that you can particularly get at Boots. But none of them really stood up to this one, the Gimme Brow. So I just thought it was worth another mention. If you have sparse brows, to be honest, it's if you like the shape of your brows already and all you want to do is just add a little bit of depth of colour, fill them in very slightly and groom them, this is what you need. I've tested so many of these now, dozens, and either the brushes have got a weird sort of long wand that bends too much and is too flexible, or the formula's not waxy enough. I have to say Glossier's Boy Brow is very, very good, but I think this one still pips it to the post, to be quite honest. So yeah, the only reason that I'm including it today, because I know that people get really bored if you say the same thing over and over again. Even though I do take comfort when people have the same favourite products and they don't change too much, I actually quite like that because it means that they really love them. But yeah, the fact that I've been testing loads of alternatives and didn't find one that I liked better, I just thought it made it worth an extra little mention. So that's Gimme Brow in shade 1. And you can see, hopefully, if I haven't rambled on too much then, for you to remember what it looked like before, you can see that it just gives a really nice definition to the brows. Now another thing that was really rather good is this concealer, and it's from Collection. I bought this at Tesco's and it's called Lasting Perfection Ultimate Wear Concealer. Now, I have to be honest, it's not the longest wear concealer that I've tried. However, it blends really nicely, it's really creamy, and it was like £4, I think, which I thought was rather good. It's got some fluff hanging off the end of the tube. Blends really easily. Doesn't crease in eye creases. Has a nice sort of creamy texture, but not too slippery, so it stays in place. I just think it performs much better than you'd expect it to for £4. That's gone on my sort of worth the money budget buys list, that one. I think it's excellent. I do feel like I've gone a bit over the top with pink in my makeup today. So yeah, a good budget buy, that concealer. Hadn't really tried anything from Collection for years and years, but I'm doing my supermarket sweep again, and the next one is Tesco. So I was in there doing some research and buying some bits and pieces so that I can tell you about those later. And that was one of the things that I picked up because a few people had recommended that to me as a good budget buy. So another thing I've been trying a lot of, hyaluronic acid serums. Lots of brow products, lots of hyaluronic. And there are loads of very affordable skincare brands popping up at the moment that are offering very affordable hyaluronic acids in a serum format. And so I thought I'd plough my way through. I haven't come to any particular verdict yet, but they all performed really decently. So I always do half a face of hyaluronic serum under moisturiser, and then just the moisturiser this side. And you can really tell the difference. You know, that side just feels fresher and plumper, and it feels more hydrated. However, about a week ago, I found this in my cupboard, and I'd started using it last year and loved it, and I thought that I'd lost it in the move, but I didn't. And it's the Institute Esthederm Intensive Hyaluronic. And jumping up to this level, this is a lot more expensive, but I really felt a difference. So it's quite interesting to come back from doing lots of more affordable skincare brands to one that's slightly more premium. It was interesting to note the difference. So if you were thinking of splashing the cash, this one is a good investment. If you've got very dehydrated skin, you've got a bit of money to spend, and you want something very intensive. I do notice a difference between this and a lot of the lower price ones that I've been testing. Now, talking of splashing the cash, I've been dilly-dallying about talking about this for ages, and it's La Solution D from Chanel, Sensitive Skin Cream. I suppose you'd call it Solution 10. It's got 10 ingredients, that's why it's called that. And it's really, really good. Now, Chanel would never be my first port of call for a face cream, mainly because you can get things very similar for a lot less, and they tend to be quite perfumed, and of course, you know, it's a luxury brand that's not dedicated to skincare, so a lot of it you're paying for sort of nice advertising, nice packaging, things like that. So it's just not normally my port of call, because there were other things that I would normally talk about. However, so many people ask me, if you were going to buy skincare from Chanel, you know, what would I get? What should I get? What should I get? And I think that the things that I would say stand out to me from Chanel would be the range of sort of acids that they've got day, night and weekend. They're really, really good. And this, I think it's a cracker. It's got 10 ingredients. It's been formulated for very sensitive skin. It helps the skin to sort of protect itself. So if you've got sensitive skin and everything makes it flare up, and then it's flared up so it's vulnerable, and then everything affects it, and then it all starts again, that's one of the main problems. And I mean, even people that don't have constantly sensitive skin, maybe you just have it at certain times of year, or if you've used a certain ingredient, and then it's really quite upsetting when it happens. It can be dry, it can be itchy, it can be flaky, it can feel tight. So it's quite good to have one or two skincare creams in your arsenal that are good for that kind of situation, even if you don't have constantly sensitive skin. So anyway, yes, this one works so well. It's really rich but non-greasy. It's only got 10 ingredients, but it's been really well formulated. So it's just a clever little cream, that one. If you aren't in the market to splash out on Chanel skincare, I've got another recommendation for you coming up. But this one is for all of the people, and it's quite constant, asking me, if I go to Chanel, I really want to get some Chanel skincare, just because they do. Let's not go into the psychology of why. But for those people, this would be a top pick. Okay, now I'm not saying this is a dupe. It doesn't have the same ingredients, but it's along the same tracks. So this is La Roche-Posay Toleriane. It's about 1/6 of the price, I think. Hold on, how many millilitres do we get in each? 30 ml and 40 ml. So it's less than 1/6 of the price, I think, this one. It's the Toleriane Ultra Fluid, and it's just a really intensely hydrating, comforting cream from La Roche-Posay, who are brilliant at doing things like that anyway. As I said, it's not the same ingredients, but it's the same idea, just helping to protect the skin. If your skin just flares up and reacts to things, it's trying to cut down the way that your skin does that, you know, the way that it's prone to flaring up. So both of them really clever, really lovely. That one I think is about 60, if I remember rightly, and this one, depending on whether you catch it on offer or not, is about 15, I think. I'll double check the prices, I'll pop them below. I know my maths from before with saying it's 1/6 of the price doesn't work out there. I thought that this was a tenner, and it's got more in it. Okay, one last thing, a cleanser. Now, I'm always on the hunt for cream cleansers that feel really luxurious, that get off makeup and dirt as well as a balm. Balms are the ones that break down into an oil and then you can flannel them away and they just feel really luxurious and beautiful. Sometimes I just prefer the feeling of a really thick cream cleanser. Now, Clarins used to do a really good one. I don't know whether they still do that. It's in a tube. There are a few that I can think of, and if I remember to, I will list them below. However, this one is really nice. It's from Beauty Pie and it's called Japan Fusion Pure Transforming Cleanser. And it's just a really rich, effective cream cleanser. Actually, this one doesn't need to be flannelled off. You can rinse it off. I mean, it does go milky and start to dissolve when you add water. However, I do love a bit of a flannel. I just think it's a good idea. You get everything off. Sometimes just splash, splash, splashing. It's just a bit of a palaver, isn't it? I like a bit of a cloth action. I just think it's quicker. You get a bit of exfoliation and you can see everything coming off. It means you have to wash a flannel, but there we go. Anyway, those are some things that I think are really worth looking at this month. Let me know what you think of this video idea, and I'll either go back to favourites and most used stuff, or I'll stick with this. I just think this is more useful, don't you? It's like everything rolled into one. And I have to say, I just don't know whether I'm getting a bit bored of favourites. How many years can you do favourites for? I'm going to do my autumn favourites, but I just don't know whether I can do 12 favourites a year. Let me know. As always, I welcome your input, and I shall see you in the next video.